let's start with the movie Sinners. You've heard of that, right?
I've heard of it, and I've heard that I should have already seen it like 5 times by now. As good as it is with the reviews that I'm seeing from people.
And I was being facetious when I asked, have you heard of it? Because you're the person that told me about the movie. As a matter of fact,
vampires.
As a matter of fact, about 2 weeks ago, you came to me and was like, hey, will you go see the movie with me? And I was like, what movie? And you said Sinners. And I was like, well, it's at the theater. I don't like theaters. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just not what I do. I've gone to the theater for Star Wars and for Chad Boseman. That's it. Other than that, you can keep your theaters. I don't like that experience. And shortly after that, of course, because our phones are listening to us, I started getting news feeds about Sinners. And I looked it up, and it said everything that you were saying as far as it being vampire and quote unquote horror or suspenseful, yada, yada, yada. And then the next thing I started seeing was a bunch of bullshit headlines. Bullshit in my opinion anyway. Bullshit headlines about this movie started out with a slow revenue. Like I said, they made $60 million or something today. Too bad they're way in the hole because the movie cost blah, 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 blah to make. You know, instead of going into, this is a really good movie. You know, they just started and this is like New York Times or LA Times. These were all big names that were putting it out there. Not one thing talked about how good the movie was. Everything headline wise was, man, this movie is a shit show. When it comes to the accounting side, they losing money. Are they gonna make their money? And I didn't like that. And so I came to you at some point after that and said, you still want to go see this movie? Because I'll go see it because of all of this bullshit this dude is getting over this. I don't think that's fair. And as you said, the reviews of it are great. Yeah. People love that movie. But I still would like to go see it and still just sort of, you know, give the finger to the man, if
support,
you will, and show him some love. Because the thing is, this is how Hollywood works. We've seen this. He's going to have another project come up, and the first thing that's going to come up in that pitch meeting when it comes time to get funding, well, day one on Sinners started out with only $60 million. How can we be sure we're going to get our investment back? You know,
they got to go with where it ended up, because I know that that's not, because I see people, maybe it's because of who I follow or what have you. They're like, this is my second time going back for the second time to see it, you know? So, and I've heard that from so many people, even in class. At the junior college, those kids, in our theater class, they just sit and talk about, I went to see Sinners this weekend and we're going to go back and see it again because you got to go see it in IMAX. You got to see it in a different way. And that's all these another things.
Thing. It's IMAX. Don't get me wrong. IMAX is badass.
I don't like it.
Not all IMAX is created equal. I will say that because there are some that are the big dome things, and that's not a fun experience to me. But the big wide screen, and it's beautiful. And again, I'm not a theater goer type person. I like the comfort of my own couch and recliner, if you will. You know, that's what I want. I don't want to listen to people chattering. I don't want to see people with their phones up. I don't want to hear snotty-nosed kids. None of that. And I know all of that's a part of life, but I don't deal with that on my couch.
Right.
You know, so that's why I always buck the going to the theater thing, with those 2 exceptions that I mentioned previously. So we'll make some time to go see that. But I have been checking out the latest reports, and if I can switch the screen here, I have been checking out the latest reports just by going in and just Googling Sinners. You know, I think I told you a few days after, now the story's changed. Everybody's talking about how good it is. And like, there's this one headline here. Sherry Shepherd. I don't know who that is.
She's an actor. And she has her own talk show.
Okay.
You know who Sherry Shepherd is.
Does it?
If you see her, you would know her.
Well, maybe. So, first thing that pops up, this is from 2 hours ago on entertainmentweekly.com. Sherry Shepherd calls out moviegoers filling up Sinners morning screenings. Does anybody have a job over here? And the headline reads as if, that's bad. But if you read the story, she's actually saying, wow, this is all right. People are really going out and supporting this movie, even if they have to miss a couple hours of work. Even up here in this that kind of thing.
Bubble, Sonoma County.
Yeah. So shout out to Mr. Coogler and what's looking like another successful project, to put up under his belt, because he also did the Black Panther and everything. What was the other one? Creed. So yeah. Shout out to you, Coogler. We will be checking that out ourselves at some point just to continue to show love, because we want you to be able to walk into the next pitch meeting and it be a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer
when they see
already.
You walking in there, it's
a no-brainer already.
I agree. I agree.
And that's all I think that they would have to say is like, what? Did you check those numbers again?
Right.
Go ahead and check them again and then get back to me.